Saudi Arabia is going to become even more wealthy and powerful, and it has very little to do with their oil. They joined a multinational coalition to stop the attack of this country that begins with an I. The last 3 posts I made where I mentioned this country or this country have been taken down. And with Turkey becoming less cooperative towards the West, it looks like Saudi Arabia may be resorted to as the peace and power broker of this region. If this country that begins with an I and ends with an N does get attacked, there is a good chance that the price of oil will skyrocket since that mentioned country does produce 4 million barrels a day. Saudi Arabia leads OPEC and they are one of the world's top oil producers. So any supply shock, especially caused by an act of violence or war, would send this price skyrocketing and give the Saudis even more wealth. You would also see the strength of the dollar skyrocket as wealthy investors start flocking to safety. Since the Saudis have an ocean of oil and dollars, guess what happens to them? But even if there is no supply shock, this country, which I can't name, will no longer have enough military resources to constantly thwart Saudi Arabia's interests. Saudi Arabia has a special relationship with the United States dollar. Because of a deal worked out between the Saudis and the US in the very early 1970s, almost all oil has to be bought and sold in US dollars. And Saudi Arabia parks billions of those dollars in United States Treasury bonds, which we call petrodollar recycling. And despite everything you're hearing, the Saudis are only trading natural gas in other currencies, but not oil. But the Saudis have so much more wealth than just oil. Right now, the Saudis are pursuing nuclear energy, and China is actually helping them. But they've also been making huge strides in other forms of renewable energy, especially solar, since a lot of that land is desert. Or is it? Parts of Saudi Arabia that were once desert are now turning a bit green. They've revolutionized their irrigation systems and they have also been cloud seeding. Planes are actually dropping silver iodide into clouds, which is infusing them with more of a capacity to make rain. And they've been able to grow a tremendous amount of agriculture as a result. And you're thinking, why would Saudi Arabia do this? Why would they go against their own oil interests? If oil gets replaced, or if the Saudis just run out of oil, then what do they have left to support their economy? They are sitting on over $2.5 trillion of non-oil mineral wealth. And that mineral wealth happens to be gold, copper, and rare earth elements, which the world is desperate for right now and will be for several decades. The only reason why the Saudis rely so heavily on oil for their economy is because it is one of the easiest resources for them to extract in the world. And they have been using these oil revenues to successfully evolve their economy to no longer need it. And sure, they're not at the finished project yet, but they have still made so much progress. And we all know they're friendly with the US, but they're also on very good terms with the world's second largest economy, China, and the world's fifth largest, India. They've also made a lot of investment and diplomatic headway with Pakistan. Remember that Pakistan is the world's second highest Muslim population, right underneath Indonesia. And aside from having a solid relationship with most of the world's major economies, they are also the home of the two most holy cities in Islam, Mecca and Medina. And it doesn't matter if you're Sunni or Shia, this is the spiritual center of the Muslim world. So on an economic, spiritual, and military standpoint, it does look like they have a lot of their ducks in a row. And because of the military activity that's been going on this past week, this country's retaliation against this country may mean that Saudi Arabia's enemies and other hostiles will be neutralized or severely hobbled. So Saudi Arabia becoming even more of an economic and diplomatic leader in the region just seems inevitable. I'm the Geo Husar. I hope everyone in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE are doing okay. And I would love one day, before I die, hopefully of old age, to gaze upon the beauty of Mecca and Medina. Thanks for watching.